This is my second time recording this because I babble. I have learned that I babble. So I'm going to try and shorten this up and get a little bit more concise. Welcome to the party, guys. So there's this issue that is really a big part of my life, and it's something that's really shaped me to who I am, and that is the LDS Church. I am an ex-Mormon, although I'm still on the records as LDS, which I'll take care of that later, I promise. But essentially, I was converted to Mormonism, to Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as they are real stringent about being called now. But I'm now an atheist. And so I really wanted to make a series of videos that talk about the core problem with the religion, because religion all has its own issues. There are good and bad things about religion. One of the good things being charity and charity work, good works. And I don't want to say I'm anti-Mormon, because I think that the church as it is now does a lot of good, and it kind of outweighs the bad about it, but it still doesn't make me like it. And so I just want to talk about factual, scriptural. I say factual and scriptural. It's not supposed to be an oxymoron. It's just that I want to show the doctrine problems. So what I first wanted to do is give a quick introduction as to my background with Mormonism and how I was baptized. And then the following videos will be maybe about 10 minutes just talking about each problem that specifically pushed me away from specifically the LDS Church. So quick background, when I was 10, we moved into a new house. A couple houses down was a girl my age, and we went to the same elementary school. We were in the same class, and we were neighbors, obviously, so we became best friends. And she was LDS, is still LDS. Her father was a convert, and I believe her mother was born and raised. And we were typical kids. We had sleepovers, and one of the stipulations to me sleeping at her house was that I would have to go to church with them the next day. And that didn't really bother me because I was raised Methodist. We went to church on Wednesdays. We did our activities on Sundays. I mean, you know, I'm the TLDR Christian, or I was the TLDR Christian when I was younger. So didn't think anything of it, but that carried on for almost the entire 8 years that I knew her. But I do remember one specific instance during a lesson at church when we were like 14. The lesson giver, I don't want to say teacher because there are no technically official teachers in the church, just like the church setting. But I remember him saying that if you're a girl, a woman, eventually, who's never proposed to, never gets proposed to until the day she dies, that it's not her fault that she didn't get married, and God will understand that. But if a guy proposes to you, ladies, you should say yes. And that was just absurd to me. I wasn't a Mormon, so I didn't really understand what they were talking about, and I didn't really like it, and I didn't really want to know about it. But essentially everything to them is marriage, eternity, baby making and stuff. So that stuck with me. So I never did convert in high school or anything like that. We went to college, and me and my friend, my neighbor, we became roommates. We decided to go to the same college and be roommates. Bad idea. Don't do it. Anyway, and it was one of those dorms that has 2 bedrooms, and in the middle of those 2 bedrooms is a bathroom, and then we've got the main door to that little suite. So there were 4 of us total, and all 3 of the other girls were Mormon. Well, I did move to Utah, so really what did I expect? So at that dorm, we had like an open door thing where we just mostly left the main door to the suite open, and we were hanging out, and some missionaries came by and asked if I wanted to take the lessons since I'm the only non-Mormon in the room. And I didn't really think anything of it. I think I had been to church maybe once or twice with them since starting school. And I was like, I guess I'd like to know some stuff. And they gave me the basic lessons that you can literally find on LDS.org. You know, who was Joseph Smith, and God talked to him, and how did he get these plates, and whatever. And I had a lot of questions. I asked a lot of questions. I dragged out the lessons for probably a lot longer than most converts do. And they actually were rushing me a little bit. They were saying like, well, let's get baptized. Like, don't you believe that Joseph Smith was a true prophet? And of course I was like, well, I mean, I don't really see why not. We've got an empty space between the New Testament and today. So I don't see why there shouldn't have been prophets. If prophets were real, because I did believe in God, then why not? So after probably a month total of lessons and visits and going to church, I was like, sure, let's sign up for it. Now for me, it was twofold. Mormons seemed happier and nicer. They were just overall great people. And I thought maybe I could be that kind of person. But it was also because everyone around me is Mormon. And I was going to be living in a Mormon community, and I was going to school with mostly Mormons, and it just seemed beneficial and sensible to join the church. So I got baptized, but nothing changed. I was still the heathen in the room. I was still making out with my boyfriend. I was still wearing booty shorts and swearing and making that's what she said jokes. And my friend made sure to tell me how she disapproved of that. I also didn't like fasting every month. Anyway, so she sat me down toward the end of the semester and basically told me that I wasn't a good enough Mormon. I converted, but I didn't change any, and I was a bad influence on her. And full disclosure, like, I was a super bitch also, so that's part of why we're not friends anymore. But that kind of kick-started my decline out of the church. So during that summer between freshman and sophomore, I basically didn't go to church. I think I went maybe twice the whole summer. Wasn't interested, didn't read the scripture at all. And I hadn't tried to read scripture after I joined the church either, because you have Sunday school essentially every week. And so they're teaching you what they want you to know. And I didn't find the urge to read it. It was hard to read, just like the Old Testament's hard to read. So sophomore year, I did go to church every weekend because I had 5 Mormon roommates, and Mormons, push you to do Mormon things. So I don't say they made me. They got me up every Sunday and we went to church. But I was still the heathen. They love me. They were good to me. They're good friends. They're good people. But I was basically a heathen. I drank alcohol. I drank coffee. I swore. Booty shorts, all that stuff. Made out with guys. And remember, a lot of Mormons don't so much as make out until their wedding day. So during sophomore year, I met one of my good best friends now. And he is significantly older than me. And he had served a mission, but only like maybe half of it. He left early for a couple reasons. And he kept all of his scriptures. He's got the nice big honkin' Bible book with everything in it. And he had marked it up and he was showing me his notes and he said, hey, just read some scripture. And so I was reading scripture. I actually read the Doctrine and Covenants. And Doctrine and Covenants are the modern day prophets' revelations. So it's supposed to be like new scripture all the time. And just reading doctrine made me see that it was a scam. Joseph Smith was a liar. He wasn't really a prophet. And of course, from there, I went downhill straight to atheism. I went from casual Methodist to Mormon, kind of, and then straight down to atheist. So I've talked enough now, but what I want to talk about from here on are the reasons why. And I will talk about the culture a little bit, because I know a lot of YouTubers and a lot of people talk about the culture of the LDS church and how it's oppressive and stifling and stuff like that. And I'll probably talk about my perspectives on it. But what I really want to talk about are the tangible, semi-factual, the doctrine, the things you can read and see evidence for yourself to see why that church is a big fraud. The reason it bothers me so much isn't just because I don't much care for most religion anyway. It's just that I have a lot of really intelligent friends who were born and raised in the church, and to me it was brainwashing. And they're normally intelligent people, but I don't think that they've read the scriptures all the way through. And if they have, they don't critically think about them, and it kind of hurts me in my chest to know that they were essentially brainwashed. And like I said, they're great people. That was one of the biggest reasons I joined the church, was because everyone's super nice. Religion has its place, and I'll probably make a video or mention it later. But anyway, be sure to stick around, because the first video, or the next one I'm going to make in this series, is going to be polygamy, because the polygamy issue was it's actually the first thing that made me drop my jaw and realize that everything else must be bull. So subscribe, and I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for your listen.